the dinner and drinks. So I think this is the best time I could have asked for. So what I'm going to do in next, what's my time? Is it 10 minutes? Okay. So in the next 8 to 10 minutes, what I'm going to do is the wonderful sessions that we had till now about technology plus adoption, having a foolproof strategy, marrying data and AI together, taking care of data governance, data protection, all those things together. We have spoken a lot about, we have deliberated a lot about what can be done, what is possible, and what the future should look like, or what an enterprise should look like. I will take a slight detour and I'll try to give a perspective about how it can be done. Again, in the time that's allocated, let's see if I'm able to do it or not. So with that, again, when I'm talking about building an AI native enterprise, so I think the time for digital is gone. So let's talk about AI nativity. And all these things that we have seen till now, data, AI, right adoption strategy, and let's see how it can be done. Or again, since it's among the practitioners, I am sure some of you might not agree to what you are going to listen to. And I would welcome if you have a separate thought process, or if you have seen some of them actually working in practice. With that, I see a lot of young people in the room, but I think some of you might have used Yahoo Messenger and all back in the days. So if you look at technologies like maybe email, messenger, social media, mobile apps, e-commerce, all of them were very popular when they started at a consumer level. No one thought of directly including them as a part of their core business operations or evolving their business model using those technologies. Only when they got popular through widespread use by consumers, by people like us, then only people started to think ways of incorporating them into enterprises. Before that, before those technologies, and which again happened close to 20-30 years back, enterprise tech stack was very, very boring. I mean, those ticket reservation systems, that's something that comes to mind directly. So the point here is that we are also at an inflection point where AI at a consumer level it looks very fascinating. People are using it, people are trying to create content, people are trying to write books, people are trying to summarize, people are trying to fill up their appraisal. So it all looks good. But the problem is that what's next? For the growth to happen, for new things to evolve, an enterprise-grade AI is also needed. So consumer, I'm sure all of you would agree to the point that consumer tech stack might be the same, but consumer application versus enterprise application is very different. And I'm going to explain what we are doing to ensure that all the enterprises are can adopt AI without burning a hole in their wallet. Let's put it that way. So, and before that, why AI? The only thing, I don't know how to put it. So some of you who would have seen the movie, The Three Idiots, there was a song, I think, give me some sunshine, give me some rain, give me another chance to grow up once again. I think this is the time where our business processes are telling us, give us another surge of life, give us something to make us think. Don't just make us order takers. It's time for us to think, it's time for us to innovate. You have done a lot of innovation, so let us innovate now. Now, your processes, they just don't want to take orders, they also want to be able to contribute in a meaningful way. So, and that's the future of work. It's not going to be human only. It's going to be human plus AI. I mean, AI augmented human, or human augmented AI would be slightly off the topic. But let's say AI augmented human is the future of workforce. And in that kind of a workforce, your processes are actually the engines of growth. So processes might not be new. It's still the same workflow. But the way they are going to execute themselves, that autonomy is going to change. So it's kind of very simple. From a maybe old gear manual car to going to an self-driving car. So that kind of a transformation is happening. And I think everything that we have heard till now, having the right adoption strategy in place, having the right data, because without data there is no AI, and then having ensuring how you are going there in a meaningful way. Of course, you are bound to fail, and failure is good, at least in this area. But how you can give tangible ROI to your management. So when you look at all those things, and I'm sure all of you would have come across, okay, let's skip this for now, all of you would know here. All of you would have come across this report. I think this is the most widely read report in the last quarter. Everyone wants to do AI, everyone wants to achieve AI nativity, everyone wants to, I believe this is the first time where business is coming to practitioners saying that what you are doing in AI, why you are telling me that you are doing your work well when I don't see any AI initiatives on your end. So even with that kind of top management commitment to leverage AI to be a part of the changing times, still we see only 5% success rate. And MIT has coined a very beautiful term, pilot to production chasm, and they are saying only 5% of AI projects are, POCs are going into production. Of course, and I'm sure all of you would be dabbling with that challenges, either as the enterprise trying to achieve it or as the advisors advising them how to get it done. The problem is fairly simple when it comes to a POC. You are talking to one data source, maybe you are taking care of 100 or a couple of thousand rows of data. The moment you put it into production, you might have 800 data sources. Even with a change data capture mode, you might have a couple of million records. The number of tokens that needs to be consumed, that might go to somewhere in millions. So managing all those complexity would be very, very difficult while ensuring that you are keeping the lights on. These are some of the patterns that we have seen. And again, of course, some of them came in the report by MIT, by McKinsey, by Gartner. These are the common patterns. Of course, data is the foundation one. The second one that you see, fragmented data. And I mentioned about the complexity. You can do a POC with 1 or 2 or 3 data sources, but when you put it into production, the number of data sources can be infinite. A lot of people try to do, for an example, let's say credit underwriting. A lot of people try to do the POC with a structured data set. But when they put it into production, the business says that we also, let's say in a micro lending scenario, we also want to understand the consumer behavior from their social media profile. So whatever POC you would have done with 100% success, that's not going to work if you are not ready for it. So that's one part. And second part, legacy system. Since your workflows want to do more today, your old workflows, your old SOPs are the major enemy for your new transformation. And of course, there are things like regulatory, things like the supply-demand gap. Everyone can be an AI engineer today, or no one is an AI engineer if you look at the other way. And there is a mindset that when we are talking about AI, when we are talking about productivity, when we are talking about new way of doing business, unfortunately, it is also maybe a semi-fact. A lot of time it leads to headcount optimization, which might not be a welcome step anyways, but if that's happening, we really can't help it. So we need to embrace that. So considering all those challenges, one answer, if I look at one answer, how you can be in that lucky 5%, the only answer that I think makes sense is which encompasses all those things, is having a platform architecture or a platform approach to AI. So when I say on platform approach, you ensure that all your systems are talking to each other. And when I say all your systems, it's not only about your company or your internal ecosystem, it's also about your external ecosystem. All of them should seamlessly talk to each other. Because without that integration, you do not give any context to AI. Without context, there is no AI. Without systems, which essentially are a house or a storehouse for your data, without that data, there is no context. So getting your data, first you need to ensure that your systems are talking to each other. Then you need to ensure that you are able to provide the right, let's say, golden set of data, master data management, single pane of truth, whatever you want to call it. you are able to provide the right data that can be consumed by the downstream system. It can be an agent, it can be an application, it can be an workflow. Everything is agentic nowadays. Yeah, maybe some days we will also turn agentic maybe in next couple of years. So that's the point. And how do we get there? Okay, and one more point from an architectural point of view, ease of development. You know what you need to do. From a business KPI point of view, you know what needs to be done. From a technology architecture point of view, also you know how can I get there. But if building that is a tedious task, no one has patience. I mean, top management is very proactive when they want you to do something with AI. But today, if they say that I want you to do something with AI, they also expect that by tomorrow you should have a solution. So which is not again, which is impossible. So one more thing I think should be a part of the platform architecture is embedded engineering. So some people, like, we try to get that embedded engineering done to a no-code layer. But however, you can figure it out. It can be whatever works for you. So with that, when we talk about this platform architecture, now when you have a look at the iceberg, the point is that everyone, including all the people, maybe not Elon Musk, but all the leaders, they are all focusing on the tip of iceberg. But the tip of iceberg is essentially nothing. The real damage or the real stability comes from what lies underneath. And that's what I mean by and some of these areas I don't need to explain. Integration spoke about data, workflow, and of course, where you are going to store that data, whether it's your cloud native architecture, whether it's a hyperscaler or bare metal server. So today, a lot of reverse cloud migrations are also happening at a time when not everyone is actually on cloud. So when you have, and unfortunately today, when you look at that, let's say you understand that and you want to achieve this, when you look at it in market, again, without any offense to anyone, all the players listed here, some of them are my ex-employers. They are really, really good. They have built amazing products, amazing solutions. But still it looks like somehow they miss the bigger picture. Now, if I want to achieve, go to the tip of the iceberg, I have to kind of, through infinite permutation and combination, I have to take a mix and match of all of them and try to orchestrate everything. Or I can build all of them myself. No one is stopping me. But building myself gives me a lot of control, but it's insanely expensive. And now when I try to combine all of them, the problem is that they don't talk to each other. So with that, we at Unify Apps come up with a platform architecture. And okay, so the whole idea is that you get everything on a single organic platform, built on a single tech stack, single code base from grounds up, where you would be able to get everything that you are looking at, starting with the enterprise integration layer, where you get 700 plus pre-built connectors for any system that, any connector that doesn't exist, you can create your own custom connector within a couple of hours. You can create a visual, and it's completely LLM agnostic. That's also one point. Customers say that, okay, I have an enterprise agreement with Google or Microsoft, so I am going to use OpenAI. Of course, their choice, and most of the LLMs think in the same way. Except for a couple of words, you will find a lot of things. However, there is also strong evidence that depending on use case, selecting the right LLM makes sense. So I think as a neutral platform, we prefer LLM agnostic model. Choice lies with customer on what kind of a tech stack they have today, or what kind of partnerships they have today. Second layer is the data layer. So once you have your enterprise systems integrated and your data integrated, then the choice is yours. You can build agentic workflow, agentic application, or a team of AI agents, individual AI agents. This layer is, we have made it completely no-code driven so that citizen developers can build it. All I need to do is I can just go and write a line that, okay, you are an AI agent, you are an expert in reading unstructured data, you are an expert in reading unstructured data, you can expect different data formats. So with that kind of an instruction, it would be able to accurately extract unstructured data 95% of time. If I give little bit more prompt, make it slightly more, do a little bit of more prompt engineering, it will reach 49 or 69 level of accuracy. For application and AI workflow, I mean, when I demo to customers and all, I can say that, okay, just upload something, everything gets done. But when you are looking at production grade thing, little bit work needs to be done, but however, it's still completely no code. So this part is good to have, but again, without this governance layer, nothing works. So a lot of people come to me who have already tried to build this tech stack over last 2 years. Still, they are not able to figure out this part. So they just take the platform just for taking care of this part. So how do you ensure that your agent is working? Testing an application versus testing an agent versus testing an workflow is very different. How do you ensure that your agents are working? So we have an inbuilt eval framework. And one more thing about AI is that it's changing continuously. Every 15 days, a new research paper is coming, and they are really, really good. So I mean, I am not able to grasp all of them, but they are really, really good. So whether you keep on adding them to your platform or into your tech stack or architecture all the time, so that's one thing you need to take care of. So yeah, I think my time is up, and thanks for being so patient. That's the point of presenting to practitioners. So, and again, as you can see, everything is done on a single platform, but with the premise that if you want to, let's say you have taken care of already, you have already taken care of 2 layers, then you can use your existing architecture plus this platform architecture. So it's about being modular. It's not about building something which is very close-ended. It's very, very collaborative and open-ended. So that, I mean, I had few thoughts, but I think it's better if we stop here. I'll be around. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And I'm sure some of you will have very conflicting thoughts also. I'm very open to hear them also. Have a pleasant time, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you,